Welcome to the feature interview. Today we have the ever-entertaining Dr. Jerry Jones, Emory Henry College Professor of Computer Information Systems Management, I'm pretty sure I said that right, and resident of nearby Glade Spring. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Talk about your upcoming autobiography.
Well, it's a book that details my upbringing in Glade Spring back in the 50s. Does that give you an idea of my age? And the early 60s. And it also talks a little bit about circumstances before I was born, like my mother's generation, my grandparents' generation, and even my great-grandfather's generation. So 4 generations of black residents of this county.
How did you come across the title of the book?
Go and come again was a favorite saying of my mom. She was a very feisty lady, and when somebody was getting on her last nerve, she said, "Child, he needs to go and come again." And so it seemed very appropriate because not only it was a reflection of her personality, but it was also a reflection of my journey of leaving this area and coming back and working here at the great Emory Henry.
When you left, where did you go?
Well, first of all, I went off to college. Let me back up for a minute. There was some talk that I would go to Emory Henry and be a pioneer black student here in the fall of 1965. But as most freshman students know, your first year of college is a challenge just by itself. And so I felt like I didn't want the extra challenge of being a minority situation for my first year. So I went off to an all-black school in Petersburg. And I went to graduate school in other places and ended up coming back here in 2001, not to teach at Emory, but to take care of my mom, whose health was declining. And so I ended up here by accident, but a good accident.
So do you intend to stay in the area?
Oh, yeah. I was born in Glade Spring. I'm living in the house where I was born in and my mother was born in that house, and my grandmother was born in that house. So I have a lot of investment in the house, have a lot of investment in Glade Spring. There was a time when I was a member of the Glade Spring Town Council, and that time is over, and it's kind of nice to have that extra time to do other things, like write the book, for example.
And how is your book going?
It's going pretty well. I enjoy writing it. Of course, the hardest part is finding time to do it. During the summer months, the yard was calling me, the house was calling me, the town council was still calling me, the church was calling me, and even Emory was calling me. So there wasn't a lot of time to do the book this summer. Plus, I had to have some time to go on a trip. So you don't write a book when you're in Europe.
Can I get an amen?
Amen. Right.
Talk about teaching in the class and how you find enjoyment with your students.
Well, interestingly enough, I've always realized that I wanted to be a teacher. I wasn't quite sure what the discipline would be, because you must understand, and as you know, being in a computer class, there weren't a lot of computers back in the 60s. So I didn't really foresee that I would be teaching a computer class. But what makes it easy for me is I have a lot of personal experiences that I see humor in. And any time I can bring humor into the classroom, I'm willing to do that. A lot of people don't expect to hear anything funny in a computer class, but it's just my personality. You just have to go with what your personality is.
Why computers? How did you get into that?
Purely by accident. When I was a student at that college in the late 60s, I had one computer class. And when I got to my first teaching job in Baltimore, my one computer class was one more than any other business teacher in that school had. And so they were starting a data processing curriculum. So I was asked to join in this new adventure. And so that's how I got started. I didn't go off to college to study to be a computer teacher. My job was bookkeeping and accounting. I was teaching typewriting. I was teaching business machines. Computer just kind of happened. Glad it did.
When did you decide to write a book?
About 2 years ago. It was the fall of 2008. I had to put it on hold. I worked for it for about a month or two, and then I put it on hold when I was asked to join in the core curriculum here at Emory, this ETLA prefix that you hear us talk about a lot, and I was asked to teach a course in that discipline, which was a far stretch for me, someone who had taught computers for 40 years, and to teach something new. So during early 2009, I didn't do much on the book at all, but I got back to it again late 2009 and early this year.
What's next? What's after computers and after the book?
Well, that's a good question. Am I going to run for office again? Don't think so. I have served my town well. This book is a labor of love because it's a tribute to my family and the things that they went through in the days of segregation. So if I can get it published and out there, I'll cross the other bridges when I get to them.
When is the book scheduled for release?
It's scheduled for next spring. My target date is April 1. I don't plan to go anywhere during the Christmas break. I'm going to try to work on those last 3 chapters then so that I can put finishing touches on it in January, February, and then by March or April it should be ready to be printed.
That's awesome. Well, we look forward to your upcoming book, and we want to thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
There is more than one way to skin a cat, and there's more than one way to get fit. Jordan Loop, a communications student, shows us the variety of programs at the Abingdon Coombs Center.